Hi, my name is Mare Cromwell, and I'm a Gaia communicator and Gaia priestess, and I am so honored to be interviewing Woody Vaspra today. And Woody and I are going to be doing a series of these interviews, and I'd like to share a little bit about Woody's background. Woody is the founder, president, and elder liaison of the World Council of Elders. In his capacity as Elder Liaison for World Council of Elders, Woody has traveled extensively throughout the United States, Canada, Central and South America, and Australia, meeting with traditional Indigenous wisdom carriers of many Indigenous cultures. Having native Hawaiian, Woody is readily accepted by members of other Indigenous communities and is especially capable and uniquely suited to work with them toward the World Council of Elders goal of creating a worldwide organization of traditional Indigenous wisdom keepers and spiritual leaders. The vision of the World Council of Elders is to restore a world in which all people cherish and care for the earth, one another, and all life. Because of this vision, Woody was selected by Lakota elders to be the leader and vision carrier of the International Sundance to honor the peoples of the four directions together. So Woody, will you tell us more about the World Council of Elders? It's very fascinating what you've been doing with your amazing wife, Katie.
Where I grew up in Hawaii, the elders knew about it, but they could not tell me about it. It's something that I'd have to discover. But however, as a young man, I had this funny feeling that there was something in the background, and it actually frightened me. So I kind of just avoided it. And I went and played sports and grew up as a kid, went through all that stuff, high school and everything else. And for many years, kind of stepped around the issue and everything else. So finally, when I reached my 50s, early 50s, I start getting little signs that I needed to do something. And the signs were getting stronger and stronger. So finally I went home to Hawaii. My mother called me and says, come on home. And I did. Then all of a sudden, the signs came very strong. And I knew that I needed to do something. So I raised my arms up and said to all the ancestors, I'm here.
So Woody, are you comfortable sharing about what kind of signs, or maybe one of the signs?
Well, one of the signs was to be on the volcano on the Big Island, and I was near the volcano, and that was one of the signs where my mother at that particular time was not in really good health and everything else, and so I did some things some prayers and everything at the edge of the rim, and it became very clear that I needed to be doing something, and my mom was behind me for doing it, to get it started. She was actually with me on the Big Island, and so that's when I finally raised my arms up and said, okay, here I am. And things started happening. And it was kind of scary at first, because we're humans and we're dealing with another world, which I was taught. And I was very fortunate because I grew up with some of the elders in Hawaii. So I got to understand what an elder, who they were, how they thought and everything else, and how to respect them. And so I knew kind of the protocols and some of the rules and everything else. So anyway, came back, and then I met my wife, or soon to be wife, and we started talking, and found out that we had very much in common in thought and feelings, and I explained to her about the World Council of Elders, and she said, let's get this thing started.
And so you came back you were living in Colorado at the time,
I was
right?
living in Colorado at that time, yes. And I retired there from my job for was on the process of retiring. And once that occurred, Katie and I announced it at a midsummer conference in New Mexico, in Santa Fe, that we were going to start the World Council of Elders. And it was very well received. And because of that, we have a lot of some very good friends down in the Pueblos, in the different Pueblos. Mm-hmm. And then we started working with it. But one of the first things we wanted to do was create a organization, so there'll be something to be supporting us in this work. So we created a nonprofit, and of course, we worked very hard to get that put together. So we had to figure out our vision and mission, which we did, mm-hmm. and everything else. And we've been trying to live by that. So, and our vision is really very simple. And our goal is to work with the traditional elders of the indigenous peoples around the world. We're in the process of creating a traditional council of authentic indigenous elders who are going to counsel the world and educate humanity about reconnecting and honoring our Mother Earth and each other, and to reawaken the wisdom in each one of us. We all carry wisdom, so humanity can survive, and then also to create a lasting peace in this world. Because we have too much war, too much conflicts going on. Because we envision a world where all people cherish and care for each other, all life, and of course, most important, our Mother Earth. Because without Mother Earth, we will perish. She's our nurturer, our caregiver, and we've not been treating her very well in the last 200 or 300 years.
Not at all. So. Not at all.
So we're also dedicated to integrating authentic indigenous wisdom with the modern cultures to honor, nurture, and restore, because really what the full vision of this is to restore the balance of life on Earth. We have become very unbalanced. So when it comes down to it, we must restore the balance, because when we restore the balance, and all those other aspects get connected.
So you traveled for a number of years into meeting with elders.
Yes, and still do in some areas, yeah, and still do, even though I'm getting a little bit older.
You look great. Strong and strong.
Well, we stay healthy and what have you, and so it's we've been very honored and to be working with some wonderful people. Now, many of the older elders have made their passing back to the spirit world, and that's been the sad part, because they were much older. But also what we found out in doing this work, that there have been visions and prophecies among many of the indigenous peoples that someday the elders from around the world shall come together. And when we finally realized that, we went, wow, it just finally hit us. And the elders told us that we can't fail, we must do that.
So Woody, can you help us understand more about elders, the term elder in the indigenous cultures?
In the indigenous cultures, of course, elders has the definition, one of the definitions being teachers. Teachers of culture, teachers of life, teacher of the philosophies, just they've become the wise ones as they grow up. And they learn from their elders. All the teachings were bestowed upon them, and they're the carriers now, the carriers of the wisdom, the carriers of the prophecies, and so on. But not all elders do the same thing too, because there's elders in other areas of the culture that have to learn, but there's a lot of learning. But to become an elder, you must experience. It's an experiential experience. These two words are the same way, but it is. And also, they must be able to take that knowledge that they learn as a young person and to experience it, and from those experiences, it is eventually turned into wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they're referred to sometimes as the wisdom keepers. It's their people.
And they spent years under the wing of other elders when they were young.
Yes, yes. And it's their people, their culture, who acknowledges that they are the elders. No one else.
So someone can't give themselves the title of elder.
No, and no. It's not something that you go to school and get a piece
certificate.
of paper, yeah, and that kind of stuff. No. This, you earn it and everything else. And the people, once you do that, you gain the respect to do your work, because I had many elders tell me, once you accept that role as being an elder, you lose your life, because your life is to help the people, not only your people or the surrounding people, but the world. You have to, that's what you're supposed to do.
You've surrendered.
Yes. And so they're, as I said, they're the wisdom keepers and prophecy carriers. And they're also
go ahead.
Deeply connected to Mother Earth. Because, you know, indigenous peoples look at Mother Earth as a living being,
mm-hmm.
not as somebody we walk on or something, because as I mentioned already, that without her, we don't exist.
Right.
And elders, like I said too, they are the stewards of their culture. They carry the sacred teachings, traditions, ceremonies, and also watch over the sacred lands. And they need to have that understanding and knowledge. And we also call it the knowing, because they have that knowing.
Can you
go ahead?
Having an unstable connection here, Woody, would you say that one more time? They carry the wisdom, they carry
the knowledge, but they also carry a knowing. That's a built, it's like almost an intuitive action or something. The knowing of their culture, what is around them, their region, their area, from the land, and from just the energy of that area. They carry that sixth sense in a way.
And they work very closely with their ancestors too, of course.
Yes, yes, because the ancestors are very important, because without the ancestors, again, we're not here.
This is true.
Because, and so, but they can really teach us a lot about compassion, mutual understanding, and being great stewards of our Mother Earth. But most important, they can teach us how to live in balanced harmony.
So one of the things that you and I have been talking about in doing this interview and this series that we're planning to do is, why now? You're coming forward now and you're open to speaking now. Will you share some?
Many cultures, many indigenous cultures has carried prophecies or visions that this time will come. What we are experiencing at this particular range of years, from the new millennia, the late last century and going into this century. And they kind of received that information and they carried it, and they didn't share it because they knew that it would have an effect on the people. But I think first, before I go on about why now, because I've been using the word prophecies, I'd like to kind of describe my own perception of what it's about. To me, I look at prophecy as something that there's so many potentials out there right in front of us. And I don't tell you how much it is or any limit, because we don't know, but there's potentials out there. And sometimes a person has that gift of receiving just a slice of time of one of those potentials to see what it may bring, which is that potential is like a potential of what is going to be in the future. So person might see just a slice of that. And if once they interpret it and know that what it is, then they will share it, and that becomes a prophecy. And they try to do is to share it in a way that it's accepted, and then we need to live our lives so that we can help, if it's a good prophecy, to make it come true. However, it doesn't always do that, because they're finding out that to make prophecy come true, it's a collective of all the human beings working together to make it come true. And that's also a way of determining our future. We can determine our future, but it must be done collectively with all humans. You can determine your own personal future, but when it comes to the future of this world, how we're going to live and everything else, it must be done collectively. And so right
Woody, a
now,
question.
yes.
So what you're saying is that the prophecy is a glimpse of a potential. It doesn't mean that it's set in stone.
Exactly.
Of the future. It doesn't mean that that's 100% set in stone that's going to happen. But if it's a positive future that someone receives a vision about and shares about, and the more people who support and work toward that future, then that prophecy will manifest.
Yes.
That's really important for people to understand.
Yeah, it's not somebody with a crystal ball. And this is the future and all of this stuff, and all we see in the movies and all of this stuff. It's something that is taken very seriously, because where are we going to go as a human race? It's taken very seriously, and everything else. Because right now we're in this time of critical choice for humanity and, of course, for our earth. And then the elders have felt that for thousands and hundreds of years, now is the time to share those teachings to help benefit humanity. And that's why once you become an elder, you give your life, you surrender your life to your work to help for the benefit of humanity and everything else. That's like you had some of the elders going to the UN to share their prophecies of what we need to do. And a lot of times they were not listened to. People didn't take it. They're too diverted. Their diversions were just not there. Their concentration and what have you was just not there. So we need to really return back to concentration and being more focused as being, and to learn how to lead a good life. And as we go through these different sessions, I am going to bring out how different cultures look at how you lead a good life through truth, courage, honesty, being humble and stuff like this, so that you can be an asset to your family and your children, your elders, the other elders, and finally to the ancestors and everything else. So that's why now is important.
Okay. Did you want to share anything more about the prophecies, the sharing of ceremonies, cultural exchanges? Was there more there you wanted to mention?
No, I gave the definition, what my definition of prophecy is. And
okay.
And I think that's what I really wanted to make people understand what it's about and not use. And some people kind of react to it in different ways. But in talking with the elders, and I've just had wonderful honor to spend time with them and sitting around. The best time for them to talk is sitting around the fireplace a fire in the evening, and you had your meal, and they sit there and they start talking. And we had another experience one day. We were sitting in a very large teepee up in Canada. There was a thunderstorm. We lit a beautiful fire in the middle, and they started sharing. And it's just, and this information has been held sacred for hundreds and thousands of years. So I wish we could have a tape recorder, but you can't.
Right,
you can't,
right.
Because I was taught that your memory is not up here. Your memory is in your heart. And you'd be surprised how much you can remember when you just put it into your heart and everything else. So it's, yes, they have shared it, and some of them personally, and then some of all, and I said when they were sharing it, made it very clear, when you share this stuff, I will not share it until the right time comes, because number one, I need your permission. And they said, yes, you have our permission, because that's why we're sharing it with you. Because, and so, and I think another thing what I found out in traveling, and it wasn't just all those areas, even further beyond that, other countries, is you will see a lot of the prophecies interlink.
Mm.
They connect. Now they're looked at it from their culture, their region, their language, what have you. But when you look at it from the big picture, you will see that interlacing, interconnection, and you go, whoa, you know, and it's amazing because they've lived for thousands of years or hundreds of years on those lands. They did travel. They didn't sit in one place that long. You'd be surprised of how many people traveled in many lands and then came back and carried information back and forth. But also they developed a lot of information just on their own. And then when they shared it, they found out that there was this wonderful connection between the people.
Collective wisdom. Yeah.
Exactly.
Did you want to share about the Royal Lineage from the Congo? You mentioned that.
Well, I think this is a good time now. Is when we started the World Council of Elders. It was in the summer of '99. And then we met, we got in, a person from in Canada got in contact with us, saying that if we would come to Canada, to Montreal, he wanted to put us in touch with a couple elders that came in from the Congo. They had escaped the Congo because, you know, there's having a lot of strife there, interior conflicts and war and all that stuff. And they came to Canada and they heard about our work, and they knew this gentleman and who knew someone else that knew us. So we went up there to meet with them. And it was a private meeting, just a real, there was that couple, my wife and I, and 6 other people. It was 10 of us, I think, in that meeting. And so we all introduced ourselves. The lady from the Congo apologized because she spoke not only her traditional languages, but also spoke French. So her English was a little broken. She apologized, but we could still understand her. And as we introduced and went down the circuit, people introduced and why they were there, she was sitting next to me, and I said a little bit of what I did and everything else, and it came to her, and she introduced herself, and she said, I need to share you a story that goes back to the beginning of the human race. And she said, she started off by saying, when we were one, we had to learn being human, what it was like being human, and learn how to live on this land, how to multiply as people, and learn how to live with one another. So as the population grew, we had to learn how to take care of each other and help each other. And we were also made aware of the gifts we were giving, the gifts of choice, the gifts of freedom, and all those other things that we were given. So, and the one thing I did want to mention was the gift of love, how to love. And it's not the physical love, it's the unconditional love, helping each other. So we did this, and many years went by, hundreds and thousands of years, and we grew. And so we learned. Also, we learned all this knowledge, and the Creator helped us do that. And this knowledge turned into wisdom. Then we were told that we needed to go to the 12 different directions to occupy other lands on this planet. So we we took it to heart, and we started amassing different groups that would go that direction. So they got together, put put their belongings together, and learned how to travel and how to camp and all these different things. Also, she said, just look at it as a big puzzle. We had all this information, this wisdom, ceremonies, whatever we did, and it was on this big puzzle. So when the people gathered to gather their group together, they formed a piece of that puzzle. So when they left, they took that piece of that puzzle with all this wisdom and knowledge and everything with them. When they got to those lands, that puzzle got broken down into many other pieces. So other cultures and other groups of people went to different regions of that particular place that they went to. And then this happened for many years. And she said, also, every human carries a piece of that puzzle.
Wow.
And she said, right now, from the stories that we carried from my lineage, this time on this earth, it is time for that puzzle to come back together.
That's powerful.
And we are in it right now and everything. So see, these are some of the stories and information that's been carried for years and years, special information. And also, when it was passed on, it had to be passed on very accurately, because they didn't have the written materials, they had the minds and hearts to retain this information. And for many cultures, they had people like, they were called the story keepers. We would call them maybe the history keepers or something. And they were tested by the elders. They were trained, tested by the elders to make sure they carried that story, and they passed it on.
So this wisdom from the original group or civilization, maybe you could call it, the Congo, is in our DNA.
Yes. Well, it's not just the Congo. It's just that whole area of Africa and everything else.
Okay.
Just that the people in the Congo had carried the story, but I imagine there's other elders from other areas around it that are carrying the same story.
Sure.
And everything else, and maybe some elders from around the world, which very closely they do. Because in other areas it's known as the Great Oneness.
Yes, coming into the oneness.
Yes, we started
Beautiful.
as one, and we're going to come
Beautiful.
back. And this is why you're hearing a lot of ceremonies, especially in North America. Things like after you say a prayer, it says, we are all related.
Mm-hmm.
And in various languages, we refer to that and everything else. So you will see that. And we, like in Hawaii, the family is a very important aspect, because that brings that big oneness in, the spirit of the family.
And you call that Ohana, right?
Yes, the spirit of Ohana, the family.
And then in the Lakota, it's better that you say it than me, the expression in Lakota.
Oyate means family and everything else. So we're needing to, this is why all of this is going on. We needed to come back as one and learn how to honor and respect each other. Because, when I do teachings, I always tell people, all humans must learn how to honor and respect all religions, all philosophies, all spiritualities, all ways of life, to maintain that spiritual balance on Mother Earth. Because if we don't do that, we're no better than those who judge.
Yep.
And then another principle I like to teach is we all pray to the same creator or God, or how you want to refer to that individual or that thought idea. But however, each human has the right to pray their way and not impose their way on others. Everybody has their way of doing it. And then I like to end with one last thing is, you know, we use the word indigenous, but if we really come down to it, we are all indigenous. We are just indigenous to the land of where our ancestors come from.
Yep.
And everything else.
Yep.
And then I know some people are going to get all excited in this. No, everybody is, because if you were not indigenous and didn't have ancestors, you wouldn't be here. You know, I'm just looking at it from a logical point of view, and also to realize we're all in this together.
Yeah, we are.
Whatever we're experiencing now and going to experience in the next future or what, we're all on this earth together. And that's why I love that term, the great oneness. Or
It's a powerful term, and that's what we're being called to remember right now.
Yeah.
So, Woody, are you okay if I lead people through a brief guided meditation to connect us with Mother Gaia?
I think that would be great, because with your work that you do with our Mother Earth is very helpful, because that's why we all need to work together with our different ways of reaching all different groups of peoples to make them realize what we need to do. You know,
and to remember that Mother is very real and she very much exists as a powerful spiritual presence. Yeah.
And that's one of the last principles of many Native peoples. Mother Earth is alive.
Yes, she is.
Because it's really, everything carries the energies. We humans carry the energies. And everything carries the energies. That's why this Earth is alive.
So let me go ahead and start. And thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you. This has been beautiful, very powerful. So this is a brief meditation for everyone who's watching this right now. I encourage you to sit comfortably, and you may want your eyes closed if that's easier for you. And I invite you to take a deep breath in to the bottom of your lungs, and then slowly exhale that breath. And take another deep breath in to the bottom of your lungs, very, very bottom of your lungs, and then let that breath go. Slowly exhale it. And I invite you to visualize, starting at the top of your spine, a beautiful ribbon of energy. And this ribbon of energy is going to move slowly down your spine. And it can be any color that comes to you, whether it's blue or purple or even rainbow colored, whatever works for you. And just allow this ribbon of energy to come all the way down your spine to where it reaches your tailbone. And when it reaches your tailbone, I want you to visualize the end of this ribbon of energy dropping all the way to the heart of our planet, to the heart of our planetary caretaker, Mother Gaia, Earth Mother. And when the end of this ribbon of energy reaches her heart, visualize her heart opening up and pulling the end of this beautiful cord of energy straight to her heart, the very core of her heart. And this is how much she loves us, is she takes us straight to her core. And then I invite you to take another deep breath in and let it out. And now I want you to, in your heart, to feel the love and gratitude that you have for Mother, for all that she's gifted you with, all the food that you've been able to eat, delicious food, all the wonderful water you've been able to drink, the air that you can inhale that's a gift from the plants filled with oxygen. Feel your love and gratitude for Mother that you have for her. And even the fact that you have a physical body is a gift from Mother. We would not be here if it weren't for what Mother provides us. Our bones are her bones. Our blood is her blood. Our tissues are made up of all the minerals and nutrients from her. So feel this love and gratitude for Mother that you have. And then when you're ready, send this love and gratitude down to this love cord connection that you have created with her from your root chakra and your tailbone. Drop it straight down this love cord connection to Mother's heart. Just send your love and gratitude straight to Mother's heart. Beautiful. And now you're invited to call out to Mother quietly and ask her to send her love back up this love cord connection, straight up into your energy body through this connection you have with her, straight up into your heart. She is sending her love directly into you now. It's so powerful and it's so healing, and she is the ultimate healer. And then one more time, feel in your heart this love and gratitude that you have for Mother from your heart, and send it down this love cord connection straight to Mother's heart. And really feel this love cord connection being so strong and anchored to her. And you've essentially just cultivated your Mother's love cord connection, which is a very powerful healing bond between you and Mother. Very, very powerful and healing. So take another deep breath in. Let it out, and know that now that you've cultivated this, you can connect with Mother more and more and more through this love cord connection, and ask for her healing energy. Ask for her to take the static, the excess energy that may be overwhelming you, that's in your system, monkey mind. You can call on her to be magnetic and she will pull it out. She loves us so much, and she's calling us all home to her. So take another deep breath in. And then slowly exhale it. And then when you're ready to open your eyes and come back, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. And that completes our Mother's Love Cord Connection meditation. And Woody, I really want to thank you for this time together. This has been rich, full of wisdom. And we're going to continue with more of these. So on that note, thank you everyone who joined us. And we look forward to you watching more of these as Woody and I do more interviews. So thank you.